Hi Kunal, hi Madhu. Can you please put your cameras on so that everybody can see you? Hi Ashton.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Hey. Hi. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining.
Hi guys.
All right, let's begin. Thank you for joining. This is the fourth episode in the monthly webinar series by HT Smartcast. And HT Smartcast is India's fastest growing podcast producing platform. We are sitting at around 130 plus podcasts across genres. And I'm Pragya and I lead marketing and partnerships at HT Smartcast. So how we'll go about this is I'm going to have the introduction of my speakers, and then we'll go on to having some of my questions and some of the questions of our audience, and then that's how it'll go. So let me start with Madhu. So she's leading marketing at the Podium, which is a podcast producing network. And before that, she's led sales and marketing and customer experience roles in brands like Kaya and Busy Goa. So thank you, Madhu, for joining and welcome.
Thanks Pragya. It's a great pleasure to be here. Very excited.
Thank you. So moving on to Kunal now. Kunal is leading growth and marketing at Kuku FM. And prior to that, he's also led growth and analytics at Topper.com. So thank you for joining, Kunal. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Very excited to be here.
Thank you. And moving on to Ashton now. So Ashton is a podcaster. He's a YouTuber. Hi, Ashton. Thank you for joining.
There.
And he is the podcaster of the hugely popular podcast, the Habit Coach podcast. And he also is the founder of Awesome 180, which is a habit coaching program which deals with various fundamental but important things like sleep and nutrition and de-stressing, etc. So to begin with, my question to all of you is, and let me begin with Kunal. So do you think discoverability of podcasts is a challenge? And how big of a challenge is it, if it is?
Got it. So I think one primarily for any new form of content, discovery happens at places where people already hang out, right? So popularly like social media and other places where so that's the main place when discovery of newer content and newer products happen. Now, think the problem with podcasts right now is there's no standard way in which people are able to share the podcast they like, right? Just to draw an analogy from like movies and TV shows, right? If you there's a new show called TVF Pictures. I like it. I would share a trailer of that show, and people would pitch in and watch. Right? If when it comes to music discovery, people find music as a background score in movies. Uh, you see, there's a huge correlation between the things that went viral on TikTok and the background scores being those songs becoming popular, etc. Right? Now, when it comes to podcasts, what you see these like you see a lot of different fragmented things happening, right? For learning podcasts, you see people sharing some podcast summaries or their notes on podcasts, which becomes a source for discovery for others. uh, for fictionalized content, we see now podcast creators are creating trailers of their content and video, some form of video which is but more shareable on social media. That becomes another source of discovery. So because unlike other mediums of content like movies, TV shows, or music, there still hasn't been a standardized set format in which people are able to share it across, and that inherently helps in discovery for others, which I think is still a big problem to be solved, and that's why the discovery of podcast is slow, and you still see newer things happening around, right? If you see, there's a Twitter handle called podcast.org. They primarily listen to interview based podcasts and write down summaries of them. And on Twitter, that becomes a huge source of discovery for people. Uh, the newer shows, let's say, if I draw an analogy parallel from like Gimlet's fictional content that Gimlet produces in US, right? Now their trailers are a lot more richer. The video trailers with motion graphics seems like a movie trailer, but that increases discoverability. So the bigger, on a very broad level, I think what podcast right now needs in terms of the discoverability is a way for a listener who liked it to spread it across very easily. That ease is still not there, which leads to kind of just that cycle of you discovering from others not happening a lot. Uh, and hence the entire like that's I feel that's where the biggest bottleneck exists in terms of podcast discoverability, and which needs to be like kind of solved uh, much more like
Absolutely.
holistically to
Shareability, you're saying, is a big issue
yeah,
here.
yes.
Madhu, what's your point of view on this?
So of course, I do agree to a great extent with Kunal. What I feel is that, when it comes to podcasts, there's no specific place where you would probably go and look for it. Also, there's like a large portion of the audience that probably people don't even know about podcasts. It's a very new medium of communication, or there are people who know, like I know some of my friends obviously know about podcasts, but their inclination towards it is just not as much as it would be towards probably listening to music on Spotify and stuff like that. So I think a lot of I think there is a lot of huge potential with regards to it, but probably there's no specific place where you can go and look for podcasts. So for me, I have been listening to podcasts for 2 years, and I probably just go onto my Spotify feed and look for a particular topic that I want to listen to a podcast on, and that's how I search for podcasts. But how you may search for podcasts or how somebody else looks for it is very different probably. And as Kunal said, like the discoverability of a podcast is largely dependent on the listener then recommending it to somebody else. So for that person to have really liked it to go on and then recommend the podcast to someone is so the content has to be really good, and that drive and that motivation should be there for them to be actually go and spread the message. So I feel a lot of the onus of the discoverability aspect of the podcast depends on the podcasters themselves, and how much are they able to share or talk about their podcast and share about it through different mediums. So at Podium, what we do is we're trying to build like a WhatsApp community where we know these people. There's this bunch of set of people who really enjoy our the content that we create, and then we try and keep on letting them know about the sort of the new episodes that we are launching and so on. So I think it's there's a lot of I think a lot of different things that needs to be tried to sort of figure out the correct mix of how you want to make sure that the podcast is discovered by others. So that's what I think it is right now.
Right, right. That awareness itself of the medium is so little that the expectation of the listener to share it is another level, is probably what you're
Correct.
alluding to.
Yes.
Ashton, what's your point of view on this?
So it's interesting, right? Because I've been listening to podcasts for I think the last 6 years, and podcasts were something that were what educated me, and it was something that I loved. And I was going to start my own podcast in any case, because I was like, I have to be part of this, and I had no idea that Indian companies were doing podcasting. Right, 2 years ago, I had no idea that there were any Indian podcasts at all, because all the podcasts I was listening to were in the health and fitness space abroad. So it was very interesting. And then when I started the podcast, we're talking about 2 years ago, it was scary because nobody knew how to listen to a podcast. So you first have to go through the whole education process. You have to download this or this or this. Then you start making it this. And like, but when should I listen to it? I think that you figure out. And the best part of being a habit coach is that you have to create habits, right? And what's the best habit? Listening to a podcast. So you have to figure out when it has to be part of it. So that is how we started actually building up the base, because back then, where would you listen to a podcast? There was absolutely no place. So discoverability was the matlab much later. Obviously, like Kunal was saying, there's no way to share a podcast, because if I share it from an app, the app ka link goes. If I share it from my website ka link goes. But it's not convenient, and that is the big issue with it. And like the podcast is such a funny tool, because the technology behind podcasts is completely outdated, right? It's far older than all our YouTube videos and all of those that are happening, which is why we can't do any of our metrics and all our fancy stuff and analytics and stuff like that across the board, which is what makes it a problem. But the interesting thing is that hopefully there's a revival taking place. And abroad, obviously, these are taking in like leaps and bounds. But the way that I see it for the Indian community, for the Indian podcasters, this is the wrong time to be trying to protect your turf. This is the wrong time to be saying that, oh, he'll steal my listeners. This is the wrong time to be doing that, because our community is only so small that the amount of growth is huge. So, if all of us as podcasters just start thinking a little bit more, saying that you take my listeners, I'll take your listeners, we'll grow together, it makes such a big difference, because that is the current problem. There's just not enough people around listening. So, one of the things is going on other people's podcasts, them coming on yours, doing a podcast swap. It makes such a big difference to your listenership and their listenership as well. So I think one big aspect is, how do I listen to a podcast? So, it's so funny. Once you tell your family, aunt, uncle, etc., ki is tarah se you listen to a podcast, then they're hooked, right? Like so many of my friends' moms now listen to my podcast, quote me, send it out to their friends on WhatsApp and stuff like that. You should listen to this. But, that, how do I do it? That tech challenge is the first level. And then once that tech challenge is covered, I think sharing has to happen within the community, and we have to think about podcasting as a community, not as my podcast versus your podcast, because we're still too young and too nascent for it. We're huge, yeah. India's so huge, and the beauty of podcasting is that it's a worldwide thing. And if you're just thinking India, you're again narrowing it down.
Absolutely. I think you said a fantastic thing. So when it's a nascent industry, togetherness is the key. Not thinking it's my podcast, your podcast, and therefore I should not be cross-promoting and all of that. Let's do it, and let's do it together. I think that's really fantastic. So moving on to the next question, because we've discussed on discoverability, and we understand that it's a problem. So to solve that problem, every marketer has various mediums to promote whatever product they have, and let's consider podcast as a product here. And so do you think, Ashton, that traditional mediums can be used for the marketing of a digital medium like podcast, or do you think digital mediums will only be better suited for a digital medium like podcast?
I think it's very interesting. It depends on the task that you want from your podcast, right? There are people who say, "Mujhe podcast banana hai," and start a podcast, not knowing what they're going to use that podcast for. And if you have that in mind, then it starts making a difference on how you want to market it, right? You can use traditional mediums, of course, if it is something that has that kind of appeal and you want to go that way. But so far, I'm seeing targeting the digital makes far more sense, because people already have that phone in front of them, and if they're already on a social media like an Instagram more than a Facebook, they already know a little bit more techie than the non-digital audience that would be there. So I would think that marketing on a digital platform makes far more sense, but more from an organic point of view. I think podcasts are still more word of mouth promoted more than throw money at an advertisement format.
So you're saying digital and you're saying organic. Because because I think Madhu spoke about or you spoke about having communities, right? And which is why this entire thing of cross promotions and organically promoting each other makes a lot of sense. Madhu, what is your point of view on this?
So for us, I think it is, there's no denying that a podcast, the only, like, one of the best ways to promote it, or any product for that matter, is through word of mouth, right? So if I've liked something, then I'm more likely to go and recommend it. For that matter, like, think of Netflix as well. So if a friend of yours has seen some interesting documentary or a movie or anything on Netflix, they'd come and recommend it to you, and then you're more likely to watch it. I think the same goes with a podcast as well. Word of mouth is really essential. I'm not sure about traditional mediums, but I could tell you that for one of our podcasts, which is called Beyond Campus, which is specifically aimed at introducing students or the younger audience at alternative career opportunities. So for that, I mean, we were considering going out to colleges and probably talking about the podcast and introducing the students to podcasts, but obviously COVID hit and we could not really do any of that. But then we are largely right now, I think, uh, because everybody is on digital, the best place to talk about a podcast is on a digital platform rather than a traditional advertising platform, I feel.
Also, like Ashton mentioned, that there is a particular mode in which the consumer is already. So there is probably familiarity bias, which I would say, which is already there on the digital, and they're more likely to be tech savvy as compared to someone who is on a traditional medium. Kunal, what's your say in this?
I think primarily if you just divide it in terms of traditional and digital mediums, it makes a lot of sense right now to primarily just try and promote it on all the digital spaces which you can, right? And kind of figure out newer ways in which you could promote, right? Really loved the way Ashton explained, right? He told he's making a habit podcast, and the making the habit of listening to podcast itself is in habit, right? And trying to use that as a way to figure out how you need to how your messaging would be and where to target, and that's how you could also bring some sort of differentiator in as well. But because just like all forms of content, right, which usually the early adopters who are just early passionate people around this new content space are already more tech savvy, right? So that's where the podcasting itself is, right? Podcasting is somewhere around where maybe YouTube was in 2010s, right? Growing fast. So all the people who would probably be dedicated listeners are already looking for newer stuff online, right? So reaching them makes sense. And if those early adopters are really happy, they would bring everyone else to the system. Like that's how podcasting has grown over so many years, right? No big company without coming in between, but it has still been growing. That's because people who listen to it find it value and bring their friends in, right? And those people who are continuously looking for newer stuff are already online, right? So you should like that makes a lot of sense to just primarily ensure your presence online and reach them in and like work on your messaging to ensure that your message reaches to them.
So you spoke about early adopters, and you spoke that we need to keep them happy. Of course, I understand they're tech savvy and all of that, and cross sharing and all of that. But at Kuku FM, you have an app, and you also have a website, and then you have a lot of content creators, right, with whom you're working, you have partnerships to deal with, and so within all of this now, what do you do for the promotion of your app? Like, how do you drive that app installs? What do you do for the website? Do you prioritize one type of content over the other, one platform over the other? Go on.
Got it. So, like, I would just break. It's kind of a very broad question. I would just break it down into two things, right? So, we are an audio platform for everyone, right? So, as Ashton also mentioned, right, a podcast has been for the longest time running on RSS, right? And that's the way to distribute. Which still, that's the primary way people distribute, right? So, and that introduces a lot of confusion for newer people as well, trying to come to podcasting as well. So, we wanted to keep it very simple. We see ourselves as a platform where people come put their audio content in and other people come and listen to it, right? So there are two parts to it. One is bringing audiences to the platform, and once people are on the platform, ensuring discovery of different creators, right? So so I would, when bringing people to the platform, what we learned was telling people come and listen to audio content or telling people come and listen to podcasts doesn't really work because it's still very new. A lot of people are not aware about this. That kind of people don't understand what is podcast. Why should I come to this platform and listen to podcasts? But instead, when you tell about content directly, hey, come to this platform, you can learn by listening to book summaries. Hey, come to this platform, there are talk shows which could teach you how to form a better habit. Hey, come to this platform, there is amazing stories that you can listen while you're going back from office, right? When you just purely talk about the value that audio could deliver, that content could deliver, that's how we try to drive traffic towards the platform itself, right? So, and here we primarily just try to decide what are the different things that people find it valuable enough that they come to the platform, irrespective of whatever the content creator mix we have. But once users on platform, as a platform ourselves, we want to ensure all our creators get discovery, all our creators get fair chance to getting discovered, people are able to get newer content and all. And that's when the recommendation algorithms come into place. That's when understanding preferences that users have come into place, right? So if you come to Coco FM today, you listen to something, let's say you listen to a talk show about culture, right? So you would end up discovering newer culture shows easily, right? So all those social discovery things that you see, let's say on all other content platforms, that starts happening once you come to platform. And whenever a new creator comes into place, we specifically have a property which highlights new creators coming into place, new releases coming in place, to ensure discovery of newer content continuously happen. And as people use the product more, they are able to find what they discover more, right? So that, and we continuously work on this to make it better, right? So, and so app has a lot of properties on the spaces that we have, the communication that we send to our users, right? The newsletters, the notifications that we send, that's all drive traffic. Over there, we try to keep in two things in mind: ensuring fair discovery across all creators, and ensuring taking into account the interest that user has already shown, right? So that's how we try to balance things out in when it comes to marketing the platform and marketing the content on the platform, right? So but among all this, the one biggest learning for us has always been, right, ki, going out and saying ki come and listen to podcasts and coming to listen to audio uh, does not work, because it's still a very new habit to have. But when you tell people ki there is a content which could help you get entertained, which can help you learn something, people get interested, and they don't mind if that content is not video or audio, right? But when you need to tell the value that that content is delivering, that brings people to the platform. And then you need to ensure your platform runs as neutrally and as beneficial for both creators and listeners, to ensure that everyone is happy and you continue to grow, right?
Absolutely. So, which platform do you focus on more? Like, is it the website or the app? Can you
So
throw some light on that?
we focus primarily on our Android application. That's where the majority of usage of podcast happens. Uh, the important part of keeping a website is just like as we discussed in start, right? People end up sharing links of content, uh, and that shareability is, I would still say shareability is very broken in terms of generally over podcast. So having website to ensure this, when I like a podcast and I share with a friend, my friend can try that podcast without installing the app, right? You can just go on the website of Kuku FM and try that podcast out, and then ensure, right? To ensure that that loop is running, we maintain a website and we are continuously developing that as well. We see a lot of traffic organically coming in, but our primary focus still remains our app.
All right, makes sense. Madhu, what is your strategy? Because you are a content creator platform, and you've created, like you were talking about, Beyond Campus, and then there is
Right.
Kahaniyon Ka Guchha, which is again a very different type of content. So you have different
Correct.
kind of content pieces. So do you market them the same way, or how do you go about it?
So when it comes to our marketing strategy, right, we obviously do not have the same kind of strategy for all of them, because the audience for each of these podcasts would differ. So as you mentioned, for Kahaniyon Ka Guchha, the format of the podcast is different. The content is completely different. It's regional Hindi, Urdu rather, stories, fictional sort of content. So for that, we then there's another one which is our flagship podcast, the one that we actually started with Founder Thesis, wherein it's basically interviews with all these founders. So we try and differentiate in a sense that right now we are keeping it on a digital platform, but then the channels that we choose to market it on are different. So when it comes to Founder Thesis or like a Beyond Campus, which is a more career oriented content, we sort of try and use more of LinkedIn, or more of, we have these WhatsApp groups. So something that's more sort of you would say more of a professional kind of a thing. But when it comes to Kahaniyon Ka Guchha, which is like a more fun podcast because it's arguments between husband and wife, that was the first season all about. So it's more fun content, so we try and keep it that way. We did a lot of marketing for it on Instagram and Facebook. It was not on LinkedIn at all. It need not be, rather. So that was different. So again, I mean, the way we have found a thesis on HT Smartcast, I would really like it if Kahaniyon Ka Guchha goes on something like a Karwa, wherein it sort of matches the audience over there. So that's how we try to keep it different. We also have anything. So I just feel like it depends on where your audience is, rather, and then trying to reach out to them on where the platforms that they actually are on right now. And that's how we kind of go about with the marketing of the different content that we create.
Fascinating. I think you mentioned about platforms. So, do you have a consistency in which you post content on LinkedIn or on Instagram? What is the frequency like? How many posts per day, per week?
So on LinkedIn we don't try and overdo it. So we sort of do we do like a pre-episode launch kind of a post. Then we do something that on the day that happens. I think those are our two main things. And then at some time during the midweek for one particular episode, we'll do like a small trailer. So we do create trailers for all of our shows, because our shows are quite long. I mean, most of them average length is about an hour. It could sometimes go a little over. So we sort of do about 5 or 6 minute trailers, which we then do post on our LinkedIn channel, so that it just gives a little preview and it's like a hook to kind of then log in. So I would say on LinkedIn we do it about once a day, and for Instagram we do it about twice a day. But the cadence also really depends on how the frequency or the cadence of the particular show. So that also determines how often it gets promoted across channels.
All right, all right. And Ashton, since for you it is also about personal branding and also about creating an ecosystem for your content, and you know, establishing yourself as a habit coach. So, what do you do to promote your podcast across channels?
So from a podcast perspective, it's very simple. We basically take out snippets from each podcast. So we have Monday to Friday, right? So each day one snippet comes out. If people are sharing it, then obviously you share it on your stories, etc. So that helps a lot. More than all of that, I think, it's so interesting to see right from the beginning, like I'm giving like a little journey. When we started at that point of time, it was like each time you posted about your podcast, it was like that, that initial excitement about how will I put this up. It was only a screenshot back then of like, a capture from one of the places that I would listen to a podcast and put it up. And since then, you've seen it grow and change. And then there are fans who are now drawing content from a podcast and giving it to me, saying, why don't you put this up? And it's so nice to see all of that happening. And I think once podcasts gain momentum, you start seeing these kinds of generating its own content, in it by itself. So I think that's what happens from the podcast point of view. And we have lots of stuff coming out, right? We have articles that go out on our website. We have YouTube videos that come out twice a week. And plus, apart from that, we have all this other content that's coming out. So I think the whole idea is how do you maintain your message uniformly across these various platforms, right? And the way that I liked it is that I liked how Gary Vee had once spoken about, this entire world. Don't think of things as, I'm listening to a podcast and then a video and then this. Just say that you're listening to different senses. Correct? There's a visual sense for your message. There's an auditory sense for your message. There's a written sense for your message. Now, you might not necessarily be good in all three. You might have one aspect that you're good in, right? So there are people who are very, very good at video, but suck at podcasting. There are people who are fantastic writers, but suck at podcasting. And over these last two years, I've been getting so many questions on, how should I start my podcast? What should I be doing? And I think that this is the right way of approaching it. Abhi, just start. Correct? Because you're never going to like your first 10 episodes. Your first 10 episodes are going to suck so bad that you're going to be like, I don't feel like doing this. And you're going to need somebody to handhold you and say, no, don't worry, see it through. And
That's
I remember,
actually, sorry to interrupt, but that's actually the same thing that Gautam, who's the founder of Hubhopper, said in my previous episode, in the first episode of this webinar series. So he said exactly the same thing, that you will never be happy, you will never be satisfied. So the only way to start a podcast is to start, and then you kind of see what you need to do with it, right? Yeah. So go on, Harsh. Yeah.
new podcasters who interview me sometimes because they've been fans of the Habit Coach and we've been interacting, and then they started their own podcast. So they said, please come on. So, so we would do an interview and they would have like the fanciest kit at home with all their cans and mics and all of that. And here I was, because I was doing my podcast on the farm during this lockdown, I had this, right? And I'm like sitting here and like, I was like, but for a podcast, just start. Don't agonize over everything else. Is your equipment correct, etc., etc., etc. Because from recording to a studio to recording at home, everything suddenly changed, right? And what I loved was everybody was understanding. Your listeners were understanding, correct? They weren't like judging you and saying, oh, poor content, chi poo poo, right? Like I remember for the first, I think, month, maybe 2 months, I was recording on my iPad mic from home. So, it doesn't matter as long as the message that you're trying to put out and how that message gets clearly carried across, then put it across various channels. Then take that message out and snippet it and make it into Instagram videos, Instagram stories, or Facebook stories, because those all get shared across the board. That's how you should start thinking about it. And Madhu, like you were talking about, you creating interesting content. That's such. This is the zamana for it, because there's such interesting ideas coming out of podcasting.
True.
And then it's layered on with your production quality, etc., etc., etc. And I think as platforms, our entire goal should be production quality and how do we break a mold, right? I think Malcolm Gladwell's company started a podcast. I think they're fantastic. You should listen to their production and their stories. And then if there's a train station, they got like a little train hooting in the background, and it's very, very immersive, right? As opposed to the way that stories were traditionally being told. And I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing certain podcasts being produced very well in that aspect. And then, sorry if I'm carrying this on a little too long, this question, but at the other end, you have a Joe Rogan podcast, which is basically almost no production value to speak of, two people talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. And it does crazy well because of what they're talking about and how they've created that relationship with listeners.
Interesting. So, Ashan, I get the point of consistently and uniformly having your content across platforms. But I was just wondering, because you mentioned that when you started your podcast, you used to put Insta stories. Now you have fans, and therefore they are putting it for you, and you reshare. But how many times, how many stories? Is there a magic number? I don't know. I'm just asking. Is there a magic number to Insta stories? No.
Nothing like that. I don't think it's a magic number. I think you can do too much of it. Like, I don't think you should do more than 4 posts a day. That will drive people bananas. So try not to do that. But I think making sure that you're constantly top of mind, and you're not just giving content that is self-evident. I think that makes a difference. How is it engaging? And I think on these platforms, if you can create a conversation with the people that you are engaging with, it makes a big difference. Instead of a one-way communication, if you can have a two-way communication, it changes the game. Like, I'll tell you, the biggest issue with podcasting is that there's no instant feedback. There are no likes, there are no comments, right? You barely know how many times something's been shared, nothing. So that instant feedback is missing. And I think that is why using the social platform gives you that sense of instant feedback, or how are you doing? And that feedback's important there.
So if somebody, let's say, praises you, sends you a message, and or probably comments on your post, so you go and reply to them?
Every single one. Every morning I have about, I think, 7-8 DMs from people who have been listening at night or said something. And the engagement has to happen that way, right? Because they have taken out the time to spend time with you. correct? If you can't take out the time to spend time with them, you're not going to be in this game too long, right? You're not going to be doing it because these are your people. You are their person. That exchange has to happen. And honestly, I'm not trying to be bashful or whatever, egoistic, but after a while, yes, your mind says, one more message like this. I remember the beginning, it was like so exciting. Then, Then you have to remind yourself that, that person, something touched that person. Feel grateful for this journey and how it started, right? My journey started as a conversation in a bar. So you can feel so grateful about something like that, something so small turning into something so huge like this. And I think that is the way that you should start approaching it.
Okay, so thank you so
Ashna,
much.
I would just do a very
Yeah, sorry, Kunal, go on.
sorry. So I would just do a very shameless plugin, but I would just very encourage you to try out the platform that we are trying to build at Woo. The feedback is something is actually very missing, which does not just an instant feedback about you being able to know your listener, but also getting all those analytics that you always wanted to see, right? How many people are completing your show, where is your audience are, right? So that is also an important thing for which allows us to recommend right audios to users, and we also share those with creators to help have a better insight on what kind of audience are the same way, because podcasting consumption is so distributed. As a creator, you're not able to get that holistically. So would encourage you to try it out and share feedback with me, what you have, right?
Sure, super.
Pragya, you're on mute.
Breaking, Kunal? I didn't get the last bit. Pragya, are you there? Yeah.
I don't know.
You're going mute.
I'm not
You're going mute now.
Can you check the chat, please? There's a question. Yeah, okay, now it's all right. So how can I promote my podcast on social media? Very few people will go from Instagram or Facebook to listen to a podcast. Okay. So if there's a link on social media, I think what he's asking is if from there to go to the app or the platform, it's a difficult task. What do you say, Madhu?
So I can, I kind of relate to this person, who's asking the question. I mean, it does happen, but I feel it's also because what people don't really know about podcasting so much, or it's maybe something that you actually go on and then it's like, you can save it for later. It's something that I probably want to do later, like in Instagram. At sometimes you just want to keep scrolling through your feed, like you really don't want to go anywhere else from there. But what we sort of try to do is if we try and pick out snippets from our entire entire show. So maybe if we've had someone like Sudeep from Empowered, who's really good at sales and who really knows a particular subject matter really well, so we try and pick out just the learnings from that and then make a post about that, so that people understand, okay, that this here, if they already getting value while they are just scrolling through their feed, then there is an incentive for them to actually go and listen to the entire podcast or the entire episode. Also then, a couple of other things that we try and do is we try and actually educate people about what a podcast is really, where can you listen. So I think just promoting about your show is probably not enough. You also have to talk about a lot of other things that will eventually get them interested in the show and take them to your show or get them to download your
Sorry,
show.
I'll have to cut you short here, Madhu. I get the point. So snippets and probably links of in the form of Insta stories will work, Shikhar. Hope
Sure.
that answers your question. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. It was very insightful. I love the discussion. I hope you liked it too. And this recording will be uploaded on HT Smartcast YouTube.